Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have another story today, and this one also comes from my life in the aviation world as a flight attendant. The hiring process. I thought this is a story that thousands of people might find interesting and informative, plus possibly a little bit humorous. Now, this goes back to when I was hired back in 2009. And at the time I was 40, probably 47, 48, somewhere like that. But, I've been around the block and had several jobs. And where to begin on this story? Okay, so yeah, I had been out of work for a while. It was an economic downturn, and I was living in Michigan, and no job market was terrible at the time. No recruiters even were returning calls, at least for the auto industry. No one was hiring. People were ditching people like right and left. Or at least that's what I like to believe to make myself feel better. But anyways, so my sister, who also worked for this same airline, said, "Hey, Mark, they're hiring flight attendants, Japanese-speaking flight attendants in Atlanta. Why don't you apply for a job there?" So I applied. I had hesitation at first. I flight attendant. I'm too good for that. No. But I was desperate, and I'm willing to do anything to stay alive. So, well, anything that's honorable. And so I think I first was a telephone interview, and then I think I had a language test over the phone. A Japanese person called me to test my language, and then finally I got the call to come down to Atlanta for a personal interview. So I got there, and there's probably about 50 of us on that day, 50 of us, and we were and corralled into a kind of a big reception room, and there was supposed to be refreshments, and yeah, I think there was. But anyways, I don't know if I think I got something emailed me to fill out that I needed to quickly fill out for this, and had a little bit more to do on it. So as we were gathered in this big reception room, I found myself a little table in the corner. And okay, let me fill out this form. Let's see. Emergency contacts. Oh, what was my sister's address? What was her phone? Okay. All this detailed information that I'm just kind of stressing to get completed before the interviews actually started. And then I looked up, and there was, I don't know, probably a dozen or more airline employees that had joined us in this reception room and were mingling with everybody, talking up everybody, and kind of they were like butterflies going from person to person to person to have a little conversation with everybody, and it dawned on me, oh my gosh, this is part of the interview. So I quickly put my stuff away, and then I was like, "Hi, how are you? I'm Mark." And anyway, so I was a little slow on the uptake, but I soon realized that this is actually part of the interview. So throughout the day, and I can't remember a lot of the details, but throughout the day, I think it was after we finally got called out of the room to go interview, and then after the interview, people were being placed in different rooms, and and it became fairly quickly. It became obvious to me that okay, one of these groups is going to be the group sent home. One of them is going to be get a job offer. I don't know if there was a third category or whatever. Let's re-interview you. But so I was in this room that was now the group was 50, and now this room was maybe 10 of us probably in there or something, maybe 50. I can't remember exactly. But then all of a sudden, I think three or four airline representatives walk into the room and very, very somber faces. Very somber. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to. We want to thank you for the time you've taken out. I'm ad-libbing, trying to remember the sort of things they said. Thank you for taking the time to come down to Atlanta. And, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hire everyone. There's just too many applicants. But we wanted to tell you that you've got the job. Kind of you're hired. This kind of a American Idol type of announcement. Oh my heavens! Half the people were in tears, and most everybody there was a lot younger than me. But I thought, oh wow! But I said, hold it. We haven't had 10 seconds of conversation about how much this job pays. There's no offer on paper that, okay, will you accept this offer? Nothing like that. The assumption was, of course, everybody in the world wants this job, and you're lucky to have it. So I said, hold on. Is there going to be some talk about how much the job pays and all these things? Okay, 7 minutes. Okay, this is not too long. And it was just like we were corralled. And okay, and now we're gonna take y'all back to the airport so you can fly home. And here I was back on the airplane to fly home. I've been offered a job, which I have no clue how much it pays. I wasn't asked if I, wanted to accept it or anything. It was like the strangest experience I've ever had in getting a new job. Here I was. I had a new job. Don't have no clue what it pays. And then certain things can be found online, so you can get a kind of a general. If you look online and do a Google search, you can kind of get a general picture of how much the job pays. But you find out later, and then, okay, get this. I think we were in training, our 2-month training for the job, and still no discussion about how much we actually get paid. And then somewhere near the end of that 2-month training, we got a class on it, and I kind of began to kind of appreciate why it was so complicated about, okay, there's your base pay, and then there's your flight time, and then there's this pay, and that this allowance, that allowance, and it's such a complicated process that you need a college degree to figure out to figure out what you're being paid. But I took the job. I was glad to have it. And I remember when I graduated, I was quite emotional. It had been a grueling 8 weeks or something like that, 7, 8 weeks. And I had been out of work for a long time, was living off savings, and it was a very emotional moment when we actually graduated and were presented with, I can't remember what they gave, but it was official, and like, oh my heavens, talk about an emotional moment for me. So, but I thought that would, especially, well, I should say, I guess at any given time, this major airline in Atlanta, probably has on file, 20,000, 50,000 applicants. So, kind of assumption is, of course, well, if you don't want to work here, there's 20,000 people behind you that do. So it's the assumption is, of course, you want to work here. And I don't regret doing it, and I'm glad I did, and it was a great experience. But oh my heavens, it's the funniest job offer I've ever had. So, anyways, that's my 10 minutes. That's a good stopping point. That's my story, and I'm sticking with that.